Canadians, and welcome back. This is unMadeGaming. It wouldn't be me if we didn't break shit on fucking day one. That's the show. We're back, motherfuckers. This is season 27. 6 seasons in a movie of of Atari Twilight. This one is Atari Midnight: The Wasted Years, which we only recently realized, and some of us might be realizing right this second, that we have a subtitle for this season, which means maybe there are more Atari Midnight seasons to come. I don't know. That's what a few people are hoping for. When you see subtitle, it means future other subtitles. So fingers crossed. But we are without Greg today. He is off, I don't know, having a job, I guess. So we're going to do an AMA and a little Ask Me Anything or actual morons attempting to stream, whichever one you prefer. And we got the whole cast and crew here, so we're going to check out some cues to A. So let's first. It's been several years. So let's go around and remind everyone who the fuck you people are. So we'll start on my screen with Meta. Meta, introduce us. Remind us. Who are you? What are you doing?
Hello. I am the darkness now. I'm nobody really. I have exclusive streaming only on unMadeGaming, as you should know by now, at least after like 12 fucking years. Yeah, there's that, and I love tabletop, and I like this team a lot. It's pretty cool. And we miss Greg. And again, I'm nobody.
So, Meta, you'll appreciate this. I went to PAX last year, and there were several people that used to run in the tabletop streams that we used to be in, who all no longer stream. And I was like, oh my God, hey, I haven't seen you forever. And they've all given the same response of, yeah, I don't really fuck with streaming anymore, but if you ever have a spot on your channel, like, I'll come by. I was like, okay, all right. So it's the home for stream runaways, right? Everyone who has left Twitch 100%. is like, it's like, yeah, I'll come fuck around. I'll come hang out.
Yeah, we're like the homeless streamers that are like, hey, can we just hang out over here?
Yeah. All right, next up, Mike, who are you? Where can we find you? And what are you up to?
I'm assuming there's a couple mics here, so I'm going to go for first, I guess.
You got it. You nailed it.
Okay, great. So I'm Mike, the Anonymous Rhino. Yeah, I've never really been into streaming. I've only ever been on this channel. I think I dabbled like once, but obviously I got a little bit of trouble. I was streaming as Dr. Disrespect. Yeah, I had to stop that.
Way too famous, too fast.
Way too famous, too fast.
Yeah.
Burned out. Got in trouble with bathroom stuff and all that. So
like a moth to a flame.
Flame. Icarus, I flew too high. No, I do nerdy things online, like play World of Warcraft or RuneScape, or I can't wait for Battlefield 6. I don't know about anybody else. And recently I picked up golf. I go outside now. I touch grass. It's kind of weird.
Gross.
Yeah.
It's awful. All right, next up, Bitters, who we never refer to by his government name. Who are you? Where can we find you? What are you up to?
I'm Mr. Bitters. I like these guys. I don't do anything. I just come out here when they tell me to come play games, and I have fun with that because I like nerdy stuff, and these people are all right.
Hell yeah, we are all. That's it. We're all right. Just all right. And last but not least, Frags, you've actually been back for a bit. So who are you? Where can we find you, and what are you up to?
Yeah, so I'm Kedaby Frags. I guess accidentally changed my name on Twitch one day. So, but nobody's gonna call me that. I'm gonna be Frags forever, I guess. That's just something I gotta live with. But I don't. Again, like most folks here, I don't really do a whole lot. Like in the stream world, I did try to stream at one point, but man, they don't tell you how tiring it is talking to yourself all the time. So it got real boring real quick, and I just didn't have the stamina for it. So now I just relegate myself to being a player here, and that's what I do.
The longer you do it, the more you sound like a crazy person. If you just like talk to yourself for several hours.
Yeah, because you do all that, you try to keep up the pace, and for the 2 or 3 people that pop in, pop out, and then at some point, it's just you talking to yourself, and it's like, yeah, what am I doing? What am I doing here?
Just to
why
always
am I?
talk to yourself in and out of internet settings, and thus you just don't feel like you're crazy at all.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Not speaking from personal experience.
It sounded personal. It sounded personal. So yeah, Greg is out working, so we figured we'd use the time we sort of scheduled for episode 1 after it got pushed back to come here and do a little AMA. So I've gathered some questions from around the internet, and yeah, we'll toss the ball around and try to answer some questions. And if I sound like I'm breathing through my nose or talking through my nose, I am. I got a sinus infection the other day, and I'm very sick. So we just have to deal with that. All right. So question number 1. A nice, easy softball here, which I don't get to answer because of where my character is. What 90s movie would be your character? Would be your character? No. What 90s movie would your character see in the theaters 100 times? We'll start with someone who looks very prepared. Bitters, what 90s movie would your character, would Jerry Baker see 100 times?
First of all, don't accuse me of being prepared. Jerry's tough to put a label on because he pretends to be someone he's not most of the time. So I think he would tell people it was like Terminator 2 because that's cool, and who could disrespect that? But it'd actually be something like Empire Records, a real heartfelt teen piece. But don't tell people.
Here's my confession. I fucking love Empire Records. And I actually have Rex Manning Day in my calendar as a recurring holiday. So yeah, I fucking love that movie. I also love that when I asked this question, I could see everyone's face slightly turn as they all tried to Google 90s movies. Which now that Mike has had ample time to Google 90s movies, Mike, what would George Butts see over and over again?
In my defense, I did not actually Google this. I already posted in our group chat several movies that were released in '99 that were amazing movies. But I would say of those that I'm aware of, that I quickly glanced at, Fight Club is up there. But I think that Matrix kind of tickles George Butts's animatronic soul.
Technically speaking, The Matrix isn't out yet.
Well, we never got a date. I don't know what time of the year
we are. So here's what I know. I know based on the last episode is that the last scene we have seen is that Ben and Jerry are playing Lollapalooza 98. And The Matrix came out in 1999.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but it was. I thought it was the beginning of the year.
I thought we were doing Y2K. We don't know.
We were doing the end of
we don't know.
99.
We don't have.
Technically,
here's what we'll find out.
Technically,
wait, Kendall's got the finger. The technically finger. Go ahead.
He did one of these. He did one of these too.
The question just said 90s movie. It didn't say 90s movie up until the point
true.
that we currently are.
I concur. I agree.
Okay. It did say your character, so I guess that's where I meant your character up till now. But yeah, I guess 90s movie does quantify any time in the 90s.
So hold on. I had a feeling that. So here's the issue. If we're towards the end of 99, I had to actually go check myself because I wasn't sure. The Matrix is like my second most favorite movie, IRL, and it was actually public. It was live like in theaters on March 24th, 1999. So if we are starting at the end of 99, technically it's been out for a few months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus if we're starting at the beginning of 99.
All I know is thus far, canonically, the last scene we saw in Age of Always, which is the most recent season of the spinoff, is that Ben and Jerry are playing Lollapalooza 98. And then I went down the fucking nerd rabbit hole and looked up Lollapalooza, and there was no Lollapalooza 98. but all of the previous Lollapaloozas that took place in this town in Pennsylvania, which is where they are, all took place around August. So I assume that scene took place in August of 1998. And that is the farthest in the future we have seen in the show thus far. So all I know is that in 1998, in likely August, is when Greg as Jerry utters the words, "Are we getting the band back together?" Now it could take us 6 months to do that, and then you know,
It's true.
like
So
also,
what we need is
I feel like
to
you're.
confer up to Greg.
That's true. Also,
What
Mike,
were
I
you
feel
gonna say,
like you're
Mike?
putting up a bunch of cow pens. Like let us be free. Let's go free range, dude.
Listen, hey, I thought we were starting at 99 as well, and 98 would be a big surprise for me. Either way, I don't get 90s movies because I live in 1987 for 10 years.
It's going to
So
take the
the same-
rest of 98 to get the band back together. Then the adventure starts in 99.
That's what it is.
Yeah, there's
There
like
you go.
3
Till after the
movies and 2 TV series to go.
Yeah.
And
The first episode is just 2 hours of montages of just getting
Oh my
people.
God.
It's like the opening first hour of the Muppets movie, where it's just like we're just trying to get people together.
If the Matrix is 2 out there, it's Homeward Bound. Makes him feel something.
That's fair. You know, I could see Butts as a closet homeward bounder. I could see that. All right, that brings us to Frags. What would Rob Ott see?
I didn't have to Google this one. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze.
Secret of the Ooze.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one.
Okay. Now,
the superior turtle movie.
It is the superior of the Ninja Turtle movie because the third one was bad.
I had it on VHS as a child. It was not the worst. It was Turtles.
No, it was of the three. It was the worst.
Oh, well, yeah, objectively, yes.
Now, if you compare it to the new live action ones, oh my god, fucking 10 out of 10 movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my question for you, Frags, as Rob, how many of these times would you have dragged Miss Maggie to see this movie?
As many times as she was willing. I would
Solid
never
answer.
force her to go. I would not. If she didn't want to go and see the Turks, man, that's on her. I'm going.
You got to get that Turt McGirt. You gotta
Yeah.
turn up. Turn up for what?
Purple headband, all the way.
Obviously, the best Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. Yeah. Hands down.
For sure. Anyone who disagrees is wrong.
And Six-Fingered Men, just saying.
Yes, correct. It's funny. My my girlfriend's watching Criminal Minds right now, and Mandy Patinkin is in that, and all I can picture him as is Inigo Montoya, and so all I can think of is the Six-Fingered Man, which is just good old-fashioned fun. All right, the next question we have here. We're
not gonna get Shannon? Shannon's that doesn't get.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I not? I'm sorry. What a piece of shit am I? Meta, what is your 90s movie?
Mine's
We talked
not,
so many things.
I know, it's okay. I honestly don't mind. I figured somebody would say something eventually, probably chat. In any case, though, see, chat came in. It's just a delay, Shannon's movie would be Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. All that shit that happened, she's just coming to terms with everything, and it's not good. So, yeah. And also what she becomes later, which I don't know if we're allowed to talk about, so I'm not going to unless I'm given to go ahead.
Ooh. I mean, Bitters had the initial pitch, and I'm gonna throw Bitters right under the bus. The initial pitch for this episode today was to talk about where our characters have been for the last 10 years. But Bitters was concerned that if we just say a bunch of shit, now Greg has to just roll with whatever we said. As if that's not exactly how the rest of the show goes.
Okay, that's
so
fair.
I will let you guys ad lib your own character bullshit and drama over the last 8, 9, 10 plus years at your own leisure. Chad is requesting my 90s movie And I don't. So as uh as Mitch, I don't think he gets one, right? Because he's not in the 90s. He can't watch 90s movies. That's not how that works. He's stuck in 1987. Um uh however,
I thought there were, and maybe there's some behind. Never mind. I'm gonna shut up because
no, you can
I
go
might.
ahead. You can go ahead.
Well, I thought you and I, when we last talked about this, I thought there was like you had a way to observe certain events.
That is the intention, is that I have the way to observe.
Okay, so that's not
But
canon yet.
it's not canon, but my intention for that is I can only observe like you guys. So really I would only be able to see movies you were seeing if I like checked in on you when you're seeing those movies. But for an actual answer, if Mitch did live in the 90s, I think the movie I would see over and over again would be The Page Master, which is
Oh, good.
arguably the best Macaulay Culkin movie, and I will fight you if you say that it was Home Alone.
I mean,
Arguably the best.
is arguably Whoopi Goldberg's best movie as well.
You know, I agree. I agree. Sister Act 1 and 2, get out of here. Let's really be all about
Her,
being a
her
book.
her work as nonfiction fairy.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 for sure. Yeah, I love that movie. And it is a very underrated animated film. If you've never seen it, go fucking see it.
Agreed.
All right, second question. This is mostly for the players themselves. What is the hardest part of coming back after such a long time away from the game? Um, Meta, as our professional stream quitter, what I'll throw it to you first. What is the hardest part about getting back in the saddle?
In general, it has to be being old and not remembering anything and having to re-listen and rewatch it, which I think is like everybody's answer.
Yeah.
But to be more pointed and not cop out to that, uh, it would be just re introducing myself to Shannon's traumas, like specifically to the character. Because like as I was listening through the last episode, the finale, I was like, man, her state of mind was really fucked up. She fucking murdered somebody. Okay. Uh and very violently too. It wasn't like a quick, gunshot to the head. It was a freaking axe, like that's not normal. So yeah, just that part and trying to like still remember what she was like when she was younger, even though she was still older of the team. And now what happens all these years later? Like, how does that mold her? So that's what's the hardest of like after being gone for so long, you're not really in that same state of mind. You have to deeper into that character.
Yeah,
That's my answer.
absolutely. Mike, next up for you. What's the hardest part about coming back?
I mean, definitely the remembering things. But that's the great thing about Greg is that he's also what I mean by remembering things is not just the events, but also remembering who your character is. But after a while, I kind of just Butts is going through certain things that I've gone through, so that way it keeps my character very relatable to me. So that's helped a lot. But yeah, I would say it's the just getting used to being on stream again. I think that for me is a big thing. Like I'm not used to this. There's so many things I had to think of. I got home from work. I'm like, oh shit, I have to like do this, that, the other thing because I have to actually worry about appearance, right? So, and that like camera plugged in, sort of things like that. So,
Not farting on camera,
no, that's only before the stream.
Just right, just the green room.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Bitters, next up is you. What's the hardest part about coming back?
It's tough to answer because like everything that's been said is relatable. I'm old and I don't remember what I had for dinner tonight. But these stories are kind of like really, really ingrained. The first couple of seasons I've listened to so many times at work and whatnot that I remember them. But like trying to find the time in the day to refresh myself on what just happened while still catching up on all of the the other content, the Twist of Fate and the Age of Always, and like trying to keep it all in my head. I don't know how Greg does it. Honestly, just trying to remember everything these poor kids have been through and try to figure out this time around like where that's led us. Like we've got a 10-year gap where we have to decide what happened. And that's probably the hardest part for me.
Yeah. I can tell you how Greg does it. Child labor. He has outsourced, and I say that tongue in cheek, but he has outsourced several of the like character creative moments to his children, and he has done it over the course of the entire game, which is wild because like in our group chats, he's like, "Oh yeah, I got to take my son to like a college thing," and I'm like, "Man, when we started playing this, your son was in elementary school." God, we're old. What's happening? What's happening, dude?
Wow,
Like,
insane.
yeah, like if you think, I think we've been playing this game since
12
September
years, I think.
of 20
right?
of 20 no 2018
Okay,
2018.
not
I think it's 2018. I started unMadeGaming in 2015, so I think it's 2018. So we're going on like 6 years. This
oh,
will
it's
be
more than
7
that,
years.
man. It's way more than that. It's gotta be more than
It
that.
feels, no, it's
I
2018. Chat
feel
just said
so
so
old,
it's
Mike.
September of
It's not anymore.
2018. This is year 7. This will be this September is the 7-year anniversary of the start of Atari Twilight.
Round up to, it's been
Um,
10 years, guy.
It's been
Just
10,
remember
it's been
that first
basically 10 years.
episode, I had no beard.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So it's been 7 whole years since this show started. As of this month, September 12th. There you go. September 12th, 1918. September 12th, 2018 is when this show first aired. So we are almost 7 years to the day, which is wild, absolutely wild. Kendall, I saved you towards the end because you've been back recently. So, what was the hardest part about jumping back into Rob?
So this is gonna be so like, okay, you said the hardest thing. The hardest thing I really thought was gonna be like what Meta was saying, like, trying to figure out, okay, where am I, let me get back into this character and do all this stuff. But dude, by the end of the first game, or I guess it was the second game when we found you in Neverland, or whatever, what was it called? Age of Always. Yep, I knew that. I was gonna say that, and it felt wrong, but it was right. When we found you in the Age of Always or whatever, and like the end of that episode, like I almost started crying because of all the emotions and all the realization that came back with that character and everything. And honestly, having all of that hit all at once, knowing that it was about to happen, and feeling it bubbling up, that was difficult to get through, because I thought it was going to take me way longer. I thought I was going to have to be like, okay, well, shit, what do we do here? When do we do this? Did I meet this person already or not? Shit, I don't remember. It didn't matter. It came back. I mean, there's, I wouldn't say that it's hard, but I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting to have to work for it a little harder. As far as like finding the time and actually having to like mark out on the calendar, like, okay, this is the day I got to do this. I can't, when we first started this, I didn't really have a lot going on, but now I wouldn't call it a lot. I have more than I did. So now I got to make sure that I don't do things on this day. And, now I got to make sure I'm off a little bit earlier on this day, and planning around the game, I think, is the more difficult thing for me to do, but it's absolutely worth it. I would plan around this. I would plan around this game a million more times if I had to.
Same. Shit. I don't know. I've had to run production for all of the Age of Always, and all the other spin-off stuff. So like I've kind of been there, creeping behind the scenes like a weirdo. So I've never fully left, I don't think. But coming back to Mitch, and I've talked to Mike several times about this because I'll be honest, I don't know. It's coming down to the wire where I'm just like, I guess we'll see what happens when we go live and someone talks to my character. But like one of the hardest things is like for like Jerry, Butts, Rob, and Shannon, you got to live like a normal life, like whatever your version of normal is. You got to see technology advance. You got to see your friends and family age with you, graduate school, possibly. Like you get to see the progression of time. And at best, Mitch has watched you like a soap opera and watched the progression of time in the way that you watch a TV show progress through time. Like it's like watching a rerun of a show that started in like the 2000s. You're like, oh, well, it's 2025 now. Crazy. It's like going back to season 1 of Supernatural. So he get to see you guys grow up, but he wasn't there. And everyone around him is still 1987. And everything around him is still 1987. So like he was a master of weird science shit back in the day, but his technology is capped out at 1987. So like CDs, like he'll know what they are because he watched them on the view screen, but like he's never fucking used a CD, right? So he didn't have the normal life. And then I had a big long conversation with my partner, and it was like yeah, there's a level of trauma that all of the kids had. And I think for like probably a good long while, like probably for years, with Mitch, he didn't process the trauma of being away from everyone as like isolation and shit, because in his mind, like it was in the previous seasons, he did the heroic thing. He was the hero. He stopped the evil Mitch by deleting himself from the timeline essentially. So I don't think that sets in for a good long while. So it's really coming back to whatever the fucking weird headspace this crazy kid has been in, and doesn't help the fact that Pennywise the dancing clown is his only companion in the spare second. So who knows what the fuck is going on in this kid's mind. That's what I'm struggling with the most, is figuring out how the hell to like play this version of the character. Because I think there's some of him that is still the exact same kid that teleported the loop. But then I also think that kid is hiding a bunch of like trauma, a bunch of like bad shit that happened to him, that may or may not have been processed. So yeah, I think that's the hardest part, is getting back in the mind space of this weirdo.
Is Mitch growing up, or is he still like physically a kid?
So based on the final scene of Age of Always, in Age of Always, Rob goes to the Age of Always, and in Emerald City, he meets Casey Mitchell, who in that timeline is the Wizard of Oz. And at the very, very end of Age of Always, Rob somehow finds himself in the spare second. And canonically, Rob says or Kendall says he looks at Mitch, who Greg describes as Mitch. He looks at Mitch and asks a question that to me says that what Rob saw is the exact same person as he saw in the Age of Always, which was a 24-ish-year-old Mitch. So in my mind, for Rob to be like, "You're the guy that I just saw, where's this thing?" that means that they must both have aged up. So I'm playing off the assumption that he is, in fact, in his mid-20s. Yeah. And Greg hasn't said anything to the contrary. So, yeah. Next Timeless Mitch. Next question. This is a good one. What is one wish that you have for your character? Frags, you got a cheeky smile on. What's one wish you have for your character, buddy?
I really wish that I got to somehow, like, I don't want to say see Miss Maggie again, but like have a chance to tell her bye. You know, like talk to her and actually kind of say my piece and thank her and all that kind of stuff.
I do think it would be cool if we got a Force Ghost, Miss Maggie.
Oh yeah,
I think that would be pretty dope.
Yeah, a la Qui-Gon.
think
Like,
yeah.
Maggie standing there and Liam Neeson's like right behind her with the long hair.
Liam Neeson's. Mike, what about you? What is one wish you have for butts?
There's so many things, so many ways I could go for wishes on George here, because I feel like maybe it's not supposed to ever be resolved. I think that is George's quest, which is what is it to be more than machine? I think that's one of his big challenges, and Greg and I never really got a chance to talk about that at length at any point, other than that is a great question. That is something that should be a huge challenge or a wish. So I think I don't know if this is the final season or not, or if it's just the final season for these characters, or if there's other characters that level up with from the other storylines or whatnot. We have no idea what that really means yet. But if it is, like I said, I don't know. But if it is, I think that's my wish. I want that to. I think that's a power George gets to make. And I think my wish is for him to find the courage to make that choice.
Now, would you say that George is more than meets the eye?
Yes, and
Yeah.
he does like to wear disguises from time to time.
Right, of course.
Yeah,
I love the irony of like Butts actually being a robot in disguise, and all of the kids pretending to be robots in disguise, like as the show was on as a kid. That's just a chef's kiss. Meta, what about you? What is one wish you have for Shannon?
Oh man. So I can't say too specifically because I'm still waiting on Greg to confirm a particular thing, but knowing that at least over the years, the results of what happened at the end of 89 and then or 88 rather, and then having Shannon kind of leave everything, like literally everything. I would like to probably, at least for her, to figure out whatever piece or closure or whatever like her version of contentment looks like for her to actually get it. Because I don't think she's ever had it. Like I go back to before I even took Shannon on the mantle, to play her as a real character instead of just an NPC. And I always got the sense that she never really had what she really wanted ever. So I think that would be for me, like kind of I know a little bit philosophical, but just that she would find contentment. Because like I personally don't believe in anybody being able to find true happiness. I don't think that exists, but contentment for sure. Yeah.
Love it. Uh Bitters, given what little you now know, like you do know a little bit more about Jerry. What is one wish you have for Jerry?
Um, not to be too meta gaming here, but like I wish Jerry didn't have me as a player because I'm his worst enemy. Um, he's never going to get a break as long as I'm in control of his story because I like dramatic bullshit, and like Jerry's always, he peaked early. Like that's kind of where I'm looking at his storyline going, where it's all kind of been downhill since the old days, and like he's Al Bundy now in a rock band, no control of his life, and he's got nothing. And we'll see where that goes, because that seems like a fun storyline for me to explore. But I wish Jerry didn't have to put up with that.
I do love that. I do love that we came back and Greg was like, "Hey, Bitters, Jerry is a rock star now on the cover of Rolling Stones." And your response was, "Cool. What if he was a piece of shit though?" Right before that, like, what if he was just a complete degenerate right before that? How's that? How's
During
that fit in your canon? Yeah, during over the last 10 years, what if he was like a complete shitbag? How's that fit in your story?
It's a
And
good
Greg
thing
went,
he's not Ben. That's all I'll say.
Okay, right? Um, shit. What is one wish that I have for Mitch? I don't fucking know, man. One wish I have for Mitch. Um, I I wish someone else would save the day in Mitch's eyes. Um, like Mitch has felt like this is his like the hero thing is his calling. Whether that's true or not, that's just his opinion, man. But like if someone else did it in a way that he would see it, like in a way that he would interpret as, oh, that's I'm not that's the hero right there. I think that would be very cool. I think that's like a burden off his shoulders or something like that, of like he comes to realize he doesn't have to do this, and he's a self-fulfilling prophecy if he keeps doing it. But I think that's like the mindset he's never healed from, right? It's like in season 2, the way I played Mitch was that he was the only one that believed that we won the battle, not the war. And then when that came to be true, he was like, I'm fucking justified. And then at the end of everything, when we found out that Mitch was actually the bad guy, and like it was like a butterfly effect thing where it was like, well, if I just off myself, or if I just disappear, or I do some weird shit that I can't recover from, that stops the bad guy. So like he's been a self-fulfilling prophecy of he is the hero of the story, of his own story at least. And I think having someone else do that in a way that he recognizes, like I recognize the heroics of the rest of the cast, kicking ass and taking names, but I don't think he does. I think he's too self-centered to really realize it. And I think we did get a little bit of Mitch not being that way when he finally like was like, fine, Shannon, you're in charge. I can't make any more decisions at the end of rollout. So I think there's room for him to like be better. But like I don't know how much Mitch has matured in the spare second. He might still be a shitty kid at heart. Um, and that's just kind of who he was. So it'll be very interesting to see like how that comes into being. Um, I guess that actually rolls pretty quickly, pretty nicely into our next question, which is, what story element are you looking at exploring in this new season? Um, let's see. Let's go with Mike. I'll throw you to the wolves first. What story element are you looking at exploring in this new season?
Um, so I mean, more of Georgia, like what's been happening for the past 10 years, will be explored in the first episode. But I think the concepts of liberty, not so much liberty like, oh, well, rah rah America, but like his personal liberty. Like, what is he, you know, going to do? Because there are certain commitments he's starting to get into that have super real consequences. That if he doesn't fulfill those commitments, it's going to be extremely negative for him personally. So I think that's going to be a fun story element to explore with him. Is did he make the right choice getting into those commitments that he got into? And does he have to walk away from something that could be what helps him get to the goal of making that choice of human or machine? So I think that'll be a really interesting storyline for at least a character. Now, as far as like the story overall, I don't even want to speculate, but I'll speak more to just my character for that one.
I'll jump in and let other people have a second more to think here. So to include a little bit of spoilers, but it's getting close to the wire, guys. So you better catch up if you're not caught up. I know it was revealed in after shows, I think. So this might be the first time it's been revealing in actual live. That Nega Mitch kept the wizard, who is also a Mitch, alive as a contingency plan. In the event that Nega Mitch died, the wizard was to acquire the power of resurrection, bring it back to Garrett like Prime, and resurrect Nega Mitch. And at the end of Age of Always, a portal to Garrett Prime opened up, and a lock containing the power of resurrection went through into Garrett Prime. A and the wizard also went through the portal. So we may have the big bad that Greg was always planning, and then also potentially a resurgence of Negamich, and then also potentially a resurgence of the wizard. And I'm fucking, that's crazy. That's too many bad guys. That's too many bad guys in a bad guy soup. And I am very interested to see, I want to see what the hell happens like with this bad guy soup and these kids who ostensibly haven't interacted with each other, right? The only people that we know canonically so far that have like stuck together is Ben and Jerry. So it'll be interesting to see the whole get the band back together, and then also, oh, by the way, we thought things were bad, but things are actually mega fucked, and you guys got to figure it out. So that's what I'm excited to see. I'm excited to explore bad guy soup. Is what I'm excited for. Most recently, back in the cast, Kendall, what frags? What do you got? What are you excited to explore in this new season?
So like Mitch's whole life up from
good choice. I like that.
I was like, God dang it, Rob's whole life from the end of the last game to now has been, you know, finishing school and then sticking it out with Miss Maggie in the comic shop and learning from things from her and all that kind of stuff. That life no longer exists. When things happened and he committed to going with the kids and went into the age of always, did his thing. Right now, Rob is literally only living for the adventure. So like, what does the end game look like for Rob? Like, what does he have after all of this is over? Because everything that he had and everything that he knew is just gone. He always had somebody there with him, be it his friends or Miss Maggie or somebody to bounce stuff off. You know, at the end of this, he doesn't have anybody to come home to. He doesn't have a home, you know, or he's got the shop, but you know, being there is going to be painful for him. With the whole Miss Maggie being gone, and you know, it's just I'm curious to see, like I said, what kind of ending Rob can have. I hope it's a happy one, but you know, not every story, you know, has 5 super cool untouchable heroes, you know. So, you know, depending on a lot of stuff that happens in the game, I don't know what's going to happen with Rob, and I'm curious to play through it and, you know, see.
Not every story can have 5 badass untouchable heroes, but this one does. So that's my canon. I also like Greg as he does usually at the start of seasons, because there's typically a long break between seasons. Puts out a survey and asks a bunch of questions that are like to help him with our characters. But I think this isn't too much of a spoiler. I think this kind of makes sense for the narrative that we've told so far. Greg put out that everyone except for Rob, you don't have to remember as players what happened in the previous adventures, because since you've been gone for so long, you've begun to forget, which has been like a story beat for the entirety, right? It started happening with Shannon in the last 2 seasons as she approached 16, and which then makes Rob our analog for Mike in It, which is Mike is the only kid that stayed in Derry while the other kids went off and had lives, and it was Mike's job to be like, hey guys, it's back, circle the fucking wagons. And of course Rob was chilling at the paperback exchange, and a handful of random kids were like, hey man, you want to come jump in a portal and fuck up a wizard with us? And he was like, yeah, bet, let's go. And so it kind of good.
I was gonna say, it wasn't just random kids, it was kids who last Rob saw them, they were the exact same age, and they definitely should have been way older than they were. So yeah, adventure was afoot.
Yeah. So Rob gets to go. Oh, shenanigans! Hell yeah, I'm down. I'm down for it. Um, Next up, bitters. What story elements are you looking at exploring this new season?
Previously, most of Jerry's story revolved around like his rise from being just a shitty bully type to like someone somewhat respectable and reliable, being better than his roots. Um, but in my head, he's fallen a long way, and I'm kind of interested in seeing like what a fallen Jerry looks like. He was so reluctant in the earlier seasons to like even participate in all the heroics. He just wanted it to be over. But like come to realize later in life that those were the best times of his life, and now like how's it going to go if he's getting those things back? um yeah, I'm curious to see how that goes for him, what Greg comes up with,
Yeah.
and if it's the same.
That'll be interesting. Lastly, meta. What are you looking to explore with your character, or just in general?
Yeah. Shannon's stuff probably just because you did already point out the whole remembering thing. As everybody knows, Shannon was older than the kids, so she had slips of moments where she didn't have connection to things. Now, rather than completely wiping her mind of it, obviously things were so uh they created quite an impression on her psyche wise that I don't think they are completely erased, though they have probably arranged in a way that Shannon kind of equates to what normal would look like in the world. Maybe not so much monsters and robots, but people that are right, like that kind of revising in your mind, right? So for me, I guess one of the story elements I'd like to explore, given the path that she took following all of that as a result, would be whether she even has really like, or what her personal moral code is anymore, because she veered very far away. Um, Kind of an ends justify the means situation. So we'll see that happen versus protection, which is what her previous childhood was like. I got to protect these idiots from themselves, kind of deal, right? And even going so far as to say she has to protect her own father, which when you're a parent, you're supposed to protect your children, not the other way around, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of messed her up, and now her moral code is a little bit skewed as a result. So we'll talk about more of that. But another thing I'd really love to explore story wise is more of the what's the word I'm looking, non-loop elements, given what happened, right? Like
Yeah.
what the world looks like, and how the story changes because of that being gone. I'm very curious about all of that, and then obviously what the hell brings everybody back together. That's my own personal interest of story exploration, but yeah,
Yeah.
those are my answers. Yeah.
We have a question in chat for you specifically, Meta.
Oh,
Do you think Shannon's will still be feeling the effects of her actions in the rollout finale, i.e., killing Arkville?
yeah. So I know we're going to talk about what we've been doing next time, and it will become very clear why those events actually really matter. But I will say this. Um, Shannon is not a hero. Like, she moved on to not be a hero. She is doing things that are looked down on by society, and is doing them for the betterment of society in ways. But because, the ends justify the means for her, she's willing to do some pretty shady shit as a result. So yeah, that she still feels 100% the effects of everything that happened in rollout finale. Like, that is
Oh, yeah.
actually what drives every decision she makes afterward.
I think that's as a solid segue into the next question, and I'm going to toss it right back to you to answer that question, Meta. What is something new you're going to bring to the table for your character this season?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And actually, this is what made me have to think really hard about how Shannon was and how she is. Um, so everybody remembers Shannon as this kind of like teenage rebellious girl. She was a little over the top loud. There was always like these bickering back and forth with Mitch, and there was the constant trying to herd the cats, so to speak, in her mind, of the group of these boys that were just doing stupid shit all the time, like Jerry going on and about to murder somebody, like at the very beginning, right? So like she's been through all of that. So we take this kind of a little bit alpha type personality that's starting to evolve as she's aging into and taking it away from being like outwardly rebellion to like this complete stillness and like I would call it a deadly calm. She has no reservations about what needs to be done, and I think bringing that to the table as Shannon, who was pretty much kind of like the moral compass in some ways, along with I would say Rob as well. And now that's kind of out the window, so it'll be a darker side of Shannon.
Yeah. Frags, what are you hoping to bring? What something new you're hoping to bring to your character for this season?
Testosterone. uh, I want Rob to be or at least have the air of a much more confident man. Not that he is, but it's maybe a fake it till you make it situation kind of thing. And who knows, he may back down if he's ever pressed. But like I want to push Rob into like a more like, you know, I've been here holding it down the whole time. I'm General Man. You know, I want, you know, he's gonna be the one that people need to come to learn about shit that's happened. You know, so like I want a more confident Rob, and not
Love
somebody, not somebody who's, you know, constantly trying to flip stuff to other people or, you know, unsure of, you know, is this something I should do? No, I want him to know what he needs to do, or at least pretend like he does.
We also have to remember, right, that there was that moment in the end of Rollout, right, in the finale, where I believe Rob, you push Ben out of the way of the laser, right? And then retroactively, we discover that like you when you come back to life, we all think you're dead. When you come back to life, you're actually a little bit older. And we find out after the fact, we as players, I don't know if it actually happened on stream. We found out as players that the year that you were gone, you lived your life. Like you did things. And Greg said that like in one universe we found the grass glass. And that was a thing you like left there. You left it there as a clue for us to find. And so like when you got blasted by a laser, you were like doing shit to help our quest along the thing. So like you stood up as a lone champion right up and then the end happened essentially and then boom, you know, everyone sort of goes their own way after the end. So like it'd be very interesting to see like a Rob about town, you know, the Rob's in charge, Rob's the boss, so they say. That'd be very cool. Especially since like you also went on an adventure most recently with a group of kids, where you have to be like, hey, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
Guys,
And
I'm the grown up here. I don't know what's happening, but
like my whole idea is that he carries that confidence back over to this group of peers and equals. Not that the last group wasn't peers and equals, but you know, they were still kids, right? And you know, I fully expect him to get checked on his newfound confidence. So what happens from there is still undecided. You know, I'm just gonna play the moment and see how it falls.
it's so interesting too because like without revealing anything about anyone's character, we've all been discussing our character's path over the past few years, and I think everyone in their path, at least in their mind, is in a position of somewhat authority. So for any one of us to be like, I'm in charge, everyone else is gonna be like, the fuck? Like based on like we know Jerry's a rock star, right? So like we're like, hey, actually, Rockstar, we're actually gonna go over here. He's like, the fuck are you, guy? I think it'd be very interesting to see like how that comes together as a group. How the dynamic fits nowadays, as it were. Mike, you're up next. What is something new you're gonna bring to Butts?
Phrasing. That's a tough question. I actually
You
don't.
named that character, Mike. It's on you.
That's true, and it was for jokes like that. I don't know. This whole time I'm thinking like, oh, maybe this, maybe that, but honestly, I don't know yet. I think I have a few things keyed up that it just depends on how the dominoes fall a bit, or how the cards fall a bit on the story. I think overall, I think Butts is going to be something new. He's going to be less rebellious probably, because I forgot you guys could see the character art. So you guys, it kind of is a huge giveaway on where George is going. He's in a military uniform, or at least in this case, a cadet or a midshipman's uniform at the Naval Academy. So he being rebellious is kind of tough. I would presume in that environment. So I think that's going to be the different factors, that he's not going to be out there just to be. I don't know if spiteful is the right word for it. Contradictory. He's not going to be as contradictory. I think that's a better word for it. So that's more of a character trait that's going to be new. But outside of that, I'll be honest, I'm struggling. I think that's going to show itself. It's going to be a little bit more organic.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm interested. Chat is chiding us a little bit. They said, "Do you mean the Autobots all headed in different directions? That's never happened before." Listen, we have butted heads and we've had differing opinions, but the Autobots in their current form, I think all of us can agree they are in completely different walks of life. Like they are individually completely different walks of life from each other. Like in largely in circles that would never even abut. They would never there is almost no Venn diagram of where these kids are now. Which is very interesting to see a get the band back together scenario, given where everyone is in their minds in the private chat currently. So we'll see how that looks. I'm excited to see how it plays out. But
And
bitters,
in
that
the
brings us. Oh, good.
Midwest.
What's
No,
that?
no, you're fine. I was saying, well, Shannon's in the Midwest. She's like gone.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I'm very curious to see. Actually, do we all are? Is everybody else still back in Garrett or like nearby, or did everybody move around? Rob's in
Um,
Garrett.
I think everybody else kind of went their own way.
Yeah, I thought
yeah.
so too. I was like, I don't even think we're all in the same state anymore. So,
So George would be, because the Naval Academy is in Annapolis, Maryland,
oh,
but that's
okay.
like the opposite side of
Yeah,
the state. So it's basically you might as well be in a different state at that
yeah,
point.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yeah, sorry.
I think Mitch is still technically in Garrett.
Well,
Um,
yeah, he's
um,
stuck.
I wonder, and bitters, I'm gonna throw the question to you next, but and you don't have to answer this question right now, but I wonder, does like you're a rock star on tour, like do you have a home? Right? Like do you, or are you just like fuck it, let's just ball on the bus and we'll just tour nonstop. Why spend my money on a house if I'm on tour all the time, right? Like does Jerry actually have a home? Is a question I have. You don't have to answer now, but it's a question I have for you.
Did he ever?
Well, that's true. A tour bus is not, well, actually, in some cases, a tour bus is better than a trailer. So depending on the quality and people in the trailer. But the question passes on to you, Bitters. What is something new you're going to bring to your character for this upcoming season?
I don't think I'll have that much new for Jerry, because as I see it, he's living so much in the past. But I'm willing to bet there's going to be a new dynamic with everyone else and Jerry. Maybe Jerry and Ben. And maybe a new enthusiasm for it all, I guess. like I said before, he was the reluctant hero, always just along for the ride, doing what he was told. But I think he's looking forward to being able to shine again.
Fair. We have a question in the chat for me from Druid Warrior. Will Mitch go by Casey now? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Mitch hates the name Casey, and that's why he goes by a shortened nickname version of his last name. He does not like Casey, and I specifically introduced the wizard as he introduced himself as Casey Mitchell to absolutely throw off the players in Age of Always, and it worked. They were all very suspicious of the character immediately, and then I played him as a very nice regular guy who was super helpful. Right until the end where he was trying to kill them. So yeah, yeah, that was canonically for Mitch. He does not like his name, and that's why he goes by an alternate name. So for me, what is one thing I will bring? I think similar to like my last answer, I think, or one of the answers I gave, I don't know. I think Mitch is going to be um useless. Mitch is going to be less useful, right? Like I said, Mitch did not progress with time, and there's only so much he can, like, even if he spent, it's 10 years, right? Or ostensibly 10 years. Even if he spent, 5 of those years learning quantum mechanics, it stopped at 1987. Think of the technological, scientific, mathematic advances we've had from 1987 to 1998, 1999, right? Like, he's so far behind the curve that, like, there's only so much he can do. So I think there's going to be a moment where Mitch tries to be useful and just can't. He just can't. Like, he's like, they're like, oh, we need help with something, and he's like, oh yeah, use my cell phone. It's like, fuck, I don't know what to do with that. Like, how do I reprogram this Nokia? I made a walkie-talkie once. There's just so much he doesn't know about what's like exists in the world. So I think there's going to be times where Mitch thinks he can be the Mitch he was, and then it's very evident that he cannot. Let's see. Kendall, you're asking about the band name for Jerry, and they do have a name. Greg named the band. It's called Forget the Bunk Beds. Is the name of the band. Question for Mitch: what's something in the '90s that will absolutely blow his mind? The internet. I, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's 98. So like even then the internet wasn't like crazy huge. I think Al Gore was still petitioning for like to pass the bill on make the internet a thing. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. I'll think about that while we answer the next question. All right, the next and final question we have from the Discord and internets is, which inter-character relationship are you most looking forward to develop and explore this season? Which inter-character relationship are you most looking forward to explore and develop this season? Let's go with Mike. What inter-character relationship are you looking forward to develop or explore this weekend, this season?
I mean, I'm going to cop out a little bit and say all of them, but especially given that it's a 10-year thing, that it's just going to be exciting to see all of them. But in particular, if I had to name one, probably Mitch. Right? I think it's one of those things where, given George understanding way better about what he really is, he has a bit of survivor's guilt. Like, well, what should I have done? I can move as fast as whatever. I'm nearly indestructible because I'm metal, right? So I think he has a bit of that yearning to kind of do better, and feels like maybe he owes you because he didn't do enough.
That's interesting. Not an answer I would have expected. That's very interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all know Mitch fucking sucks. So I mean, it's
Meta, same question. Which inter-character relationship are you most looking forward to develop or explore?
So this is tough because Shannon really doesn't. Everything's very fuzzy. What happened between the characters? Not the necessarily the events, but the individual relationships are really kind of a distant, not even memory, almost like a dream. They're like she knows that some things happen, but she doesn't really remember them in any amazing detail. So for with that, I would actually give a meta answer, which is I actually would love to see how Shannon would react to Jerry, actually, believe it or not, because they had they were kind of, I would say, Shannon in her early time period, especially because of how Jerry was with the boys. She probably felt the most on equal footing with him as far as like the way that their dynamics were with the group. So I think I would love to see what the relationship becomes based on whatever brings them together. But I can definitely see Shannon, even though she's been gone from that far away. She's like, oh, I remember Jerry. Oh, he's a rock star now. That's weird. Like, that kind of like that faintness of that memory of like, yeah, I remember that one time or something like that. And you kind of lose the thought of the story, but you remember that there was something there. So I think that would be really cool to see. Um and only for my own amusement. Mostly, I would love to see how Shannon reacts to Mitch and how Mitch reacts to Shannon now that they're completely different people. Like Mitch may have stayed the same in his immaturity, and Shannon's gone to a completely like very cynical and um, quiet almost, which is awkward and disturbing to some people that may have known her when she was a teen. So, yeah, those are probably my top two right now that come to mind out of character.
Yeah. Bitters, question over to you. What inter-character relationship are you most looking forward to develop or explore in this new season?
Um, I'm with Meta there. I want to see how Mitch and Shannon butt heads now, because they always did. But if I have to go with someone, according to Jerry, I'm kind of curious how he and Butts might get along, knowing that they've kind of both turned out exactly like Butts always said they would. Like he would be well off and he'd be good and he'd be better and Jerry would be a piece of shit and nobody, and like uh I'm kind of curious to see how Jerry deals with those facts. Yeah.
Interesting. Frags, over to you. What inter-character relationships are you most forward to looking to? Most forward looking to? Most looking forward to?
Well, um, I'm so I got two. Second most curious. It really is Butts, because now if like he said, he's not going to be as contrarian and not or he's going to try to be that way. I want to see how they interact now that Rob's more confident and he's almost kind of ready for Butts to knock him down or shit on his ideas. And then if he plays it that way, and it doesn't come, it just to see how that dynamic goes now. I mean, I'm not saying that like, oh, George was always constantly knocking that wasn't the case, but him just knowing how George could be, and just being ready for that pushback, and I want to see how that plays out. And I also don't think that Robin Butts got a lot of one-on-one time. And then also with the new confidence thing, he wants to see if he can out macho Shannon. and like, not be seen as one of the children, you know. So I want to see how that goes, especially with her coming back and having like the, the memory thing, worse than the other guys and stuff, and seeing if that has him painted in a new light to her, you know. Um, so I'm curious to that interaction, and of course, if Bitters, uh, if Jerry is more or less the same, then that's going to be perfect.
Oh yeah. um, I have a quickie answer, and then while I'm giving that, I'll think about a better one. Um, I I really want to see Rob and Shannon, because I want to see if they rekindle that smooch, that little smooch from earlier in the show.
Oh my God.
That little Goonies in the wishing well smooch. I want to see what happens there. That's yeah. I want to see where Jerry and Ronnie are, right? Um, uh, I want to see the trail of lovers that Butts has left behind. Um, um, no, I think again, this is a super cop out answer, but like everyone. I think with Mitch being gone, not that like everyone else, because we've all separated, right? So everyone else is gone as well. But like one of the, I've talked to Mike about it, in passing. But I think one of the things I want to incorporate into Mitch is, and I have to verify all this with Greg as well. So this is non canonical as at the moment, but um if Mitch is able to like watch the lives of his friends, how much, right? And so in my head, one of the things I want to bring with Mitch is Mitch saw you guys grow up, but you didn't know Mitch was there. So like Mitch has stories of the times you guys did that one thing, but it's weird when he says it because he wasn't there, right? So like, oh, you remember that time you did the no, okay, this is okay, I'm making the fucking room weird. Okay, sick. So like he doesn't know how to be, he's been alone for so long, he doesn't know how to be anyone's friend anymore. So he's just gonna divert to back to how you were as kids or what he's seen on the video screen. So I think develop like he has to essentially redevelop his relationship with all of you, which I think is interesting. Making friends as an adult is hard enough. Remaking friends with your old friends is also weird. So like I'm interested to see how he comes back to the group and how he interacts with everybody. Um, I also had the idea that like in the epilogue of rollout, one of the things I said, which is where this idea came from of the view screens, is that Mitch spent time trying to help the other universes that did not have a Mitch. So like some of the times he has an anecdote about Butts isn't about Butts; it's about a different Butts that never did that one thing. So I want to see how that plays out. So I think that'll be interesting to see like a like it's like weirdly almost like Alzheimer's Mitch. Like he's confusing you for a different version of you. He can't really tell which one's which at this point because it's been so long. You're all essentially characters on a TV screen.
Yeah.
So I think that would be an interesting way to play that out and see what happens here. Last thing, we had a question from chat, and I think I can answer this for all of us here. It says so. A couple of questions. Are you all playing the same character types? And also, are you all playing the same archetypes? Meaning, is Jerry the strong guy? Is Butts the charming guy? So we don't know our character types. In fact, Greg, I logged into the Roll20 today, and Greg has deleted all of our character sheets, or at least hidden them from us. And the entire Roll20 is empty. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. And Greg hasn't said anything other than that the Roll20 is nowhere near done. So we might be not using any rules. Who knows? Who knows what the fuck happens? Um, but as for your character like trope, are you all still kind of playing the same character trope? Like, is Butts charming? Is Jerry the strong man? Um, what are your thoughts?
I think Rob is still gonna be kind of a weirdo. Um, he's not I don't. It's hard to pigeonhole him into one little thing because sometimes he's weird, but other times he can be charming. He can be like I think, but it's like natural growth. With I mean, yeah, it's easy to pigeonhole these characters when they're 12 and 13, but as you grow and get into like your 20s and stuff, you start becoming a more rounded individual, right? So like,
Yeah.
there's a lot more things that I wouldn't classify him as a jock per se, but he's done some training and he can kind of he's got them manos now. He can put them on you, but it's not he's not just a weird nerdy guy anymore. So I think that would I'm hoping that it's something like that whenever we get to kind of fully grasp everything and talk it out with Greg. I hope we don't have to pigeonhole ourselves into one specific class or something like that.
Anyone else thoughts? Same.
Yeah,
Um,
basically, like Jerry kind of started as the troublemaker and moved up to jock, and then I saw him as like the popular kid later in kind of after the events of the last season. But I don't really know. Like he's probably some sort of combination of all of these things at this point.
Yeah.
Butts will definitely be different because Butts went from popular kid to troublemaker, and he's definitely not a troublemaker anymore. I don't know if I'd be the popular kid. I think he does have an air of charm about him. Maybe that's one of the protocols that he can't control.
He's still a ladies' man.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that. Probably, I think it's a capability of his, but is it a motivator? Probably not. I think a motivator for my character, he might go more like bookworm. He might become more intellectual. I haven't decided yet, but it's definitely not going to be troublemaker. I don't envision him being like. He could still be that super cocky guy. I could see that still being the case, but I don't know.
What was Mitch's again?
Technically, Mitch was the hick.
Okay, yeah. So one thing that I find interesting, I'm sure Greg has already thought well ahead of all of us, given the time changes and the rule system itself, like from a practicality perspective. Uh, I would say Shannon, in some ways, I guess, is still technically the troublemaker, but it's on a different level. Like it's not outward rebellion; it's something else much deeper. However, I will say, because of her line of work now, she has picked up a lot of things that she remembers for some reason Mitch would do with tweaking, certain gadgets or whatever, just kind of very MacGyver stuff. I think she almost subconsciously picked that up and took that with her through the years. And I would even say if it does become canonical that Mitch is looking into their lives, maybe there's a moment where like, hey, didn't I make that once before or something, where like Shannon almost mindlessly creates something similar to what Mitch did. And so I think that's kind of, I wouldn't say that I'm 100% with Kendall here is just, it's not going to be like one specific thing. And it's definitely not the same either. It's like, as they've experienced a lot more outside of their immediate little bubble, they've taken on new identities and archetypes as a result.
Well, I will say canonically, Mitch and Shannon did work on the party wagon.
That's true. That's true.
They did rebuild a van.
Yeah.
In the guise of the Ninja Turtles party wagon.
That's true.
Yeah, I think for Mitch, I think I've talked enough about Mitch. Like he's mostly the same, but only because he really had no forward momentum where he is. He's stopped in time. There's only so much I think you can. I think there's only so much growth and change you can affect when there is nothing. Like you are changed by the world around you, and then when the world around you is frozen, there's only so much you can do about it. So I think that's Mitch is stuck, and I think that's an interesting place to be, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's all we got for questions, guys. That was a damn fun AMA. Hmm, let's see. Let me roll back through chat real quick. I don't think I see anything in here. think that about covers all of it. Yeah, I think this is going to be a very dramatic season, and I think that we haven't role played together in a hot minute since the last season, ostensibly, and I think Greg is destined to have more seasons of Atari Midnight because we are going to talk so much in role play and solve no missions.
Zero.
That is the yeah that is the entire existence behind the entire reason behind the existence of spin-off shows is because of how many threads we just left hanging. That Greg needed to bring in an entire cast of other people to clean up our mess. So I'm excited to see how we can fuck up Greg's plans, and see what the hell happens in this new season. Um, yeah, if you want us to come back and talk about like the growth of our characters, possibly same time next week, let us know. Make it known in the discords and on the social medias and all that shit. And then I'll talk to the group here and we'll figure something out possibly for next Thursday, before we actually start the show. But that's gonna be it from us, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for your cues that we aid. We're gonna get the hell out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. From all of us to you guys. Bye. See you next time.